Hello, Healing Overflow with Dr. Toy. Welcome back. Come on, pull up a chair. This is such an important topic today. I'm so excited. Y'all know I love my guests. They're the most authentic people that I could find, but they're experts. They're experts in their field. And so we have another expert. But before I introduce her, let me tell you that you still can write in to Ask a Therapist segment. I'm the therapist. Ask me the questions. I'm happy to answer them. If they are answered on the podcast, then you can get a gift card. I don't know, fancy drink or something like that. Get a sandwich. Just write in. The Qualitracks link is below. Click on that Ask a Therapist. Ask me anything. I already have questions rolling in, and you know what I'm going to do with them. We're going to have a whole segment. That's going to be a lot of fun. So tune into that. All right? If you want to email me directly, you can email me at toyaj@pitt.edu. I'll answer you. You know I will. I'll answer you right back. Let's get into it, Healing Overflow family. I'm so excited about this topic because it's something that we, especially as Americans, but just people in general, we struggle with our health. We struggle with our weight. We struggle with eating, sleeping, all of those things. And I have someone here that she caught my eye. One, she's very successful and just out there busy, but not busy in herself with just fluff, busy in herself with helping other people, and that touched my heart as a social worker. Then I start digging more into her. It's like, wait, she's a social worker. See, that's why. That's why she caught my heart. She's going to catch y'all. I have Dr. Camille Smith here today. Put your hands together. Let's give it to her. You hear him screaming?
I do, yes.
Calm down, y'all. I'm so glad you took the time to come on a podcast, give us some of this wisdom and knowledge. I'm really excited to have you here today. I've been planning and preparing this for, I want to say, at least 6 to 8 months, and just didn't know what guest I should ask to come on. I saw some people, I was like, they were like health snobs. I was like, that's not going to work for us. So then I kept looking and digging. Who would be a perfect person to come on and talk about this topic and really give us some gentle wisdom? And I came across one of your Facebook posts, and it grabbed me, and I said, she's perfect. She's perfect. So, Dr. Camille Smith is the president and founder of Thaw. You got to tell us about what Thaw is. I already know, but I love for you to talk to her honest about it. Program director at UPMC Health Plan. She has a master's in science in sports exercise and physiology at the University of Pittsburgh. I told y'all she's an expert. And a master's in social work at that other college. But at Carlow University. We didn't snag her in time, Pitt. Dang. Doctor in education from Pitt. Wonderful. And exercise physiologist, owner of Camille's Fitness. I want to know what an exercise physiologist is, and she's a wellness coach. So just explain, that's a lot of hats. Tell us what that is. You can go piece by piece. You can put it all together however you want to. Just explain a little bit about what you do.
All right, no problem. First, I'm honored to be here, so thank you for selecting me after you've been looking for 8 months. So first, THAW. THAW stands for Transforming the Health of African American Women. And our goal there is trauma-informed care, where our goal is to improve the health of African American women and the communities in which they live, because not sure if you know, African American women top some of the charts with health disparities, heart disease, cancer, and other chronic conditions. There we use holistic care. We try to teach how to deal with your stress, because stress is one of the correlations to some of the chronic conditions that we have, not to mention the behaviors that we have that leads to these chronic conditions, like lack of physical activity, overeating, and emotional eating. So learning how to deal with the stress, but also the body keeps a score from all the stress, and how to work the body and using movement therapy to truly deal with that type of trauma and relieve, but also to get more active active, right? So that's what we do at THAW. Also, I'm a program director at UPMC Health Plan, where I lead the program called Medicare Faith and Wellness Program, where I get to put my two worlds together. Faith, we work with churches within the community. They become teams while they're on the they create teams, and then they're registered their Medicare beneficiaries to be in an 8-week health challenge. So something that I don't think that's listed there is I am a first lady. I'm married to Pastor Michael Smith, so I got to put a drop
Hi,
in.
Pastor Mike.
There you go. He's the senior founding pastor of Destiny International Ministries, which is in Lincoln, Leamington, as well as Homewood. So get to put the world of faith and health together in that spectrum. Also, yes, master's in exercise physiology. So what is exercise physiology? All it truly means is using evidence-based and using science to understand the impact of physical activity on the body. And with that science, we then can create a program for someone who needs to improve their fitness, whether or not their cardiovascular is low and their blood pressure is high. We want to basically bring that blood pressure down, or if their heart rate is high just by going up the stairs, what kind of routine can we give them so that they can improve that? Or it could be improving your performance. So we've worked with a lot of athletes that if they want to sprint fast or anything like that, but using science-based methods to try and get there, as well as strength training. So a lot of exercise physiologists might go into strength and conditioning, become coaches, become bodybuilders, which is something that I did, but just really using science and using basically assessments to build this. So we'll do VO2 max, we'll do 1 rep max, just so we know where you are, and then we can build a plan to improve that, whatever you're trying to do. So
Wow.
it goes across all. So yeah, like you said, I'm actually I just graduated from Carlow and will be taking my licensure exam. So I get kind of scared when people call me a social worker, but a fellow social worker, Danita Benjamin Miller had recommended.
Hi, Danita.
Yeah, that I become a social worker because she's on our board of THAW, and she said, you're already doing it, so you might as well just get licensed and potentially get more funding around it as a social worker. Other than that, I am a personal trainer, so after getting my degree in Masters of Exercise Science, I did create my own company called Camille's Fitness, where I train clients one-on-one. So that method that I learned from exercise physiology, I use. A lot of my clients tend to be cancer survivors, so how to basically improve their body after all the chemo, or even I have some people who are dealing with cancer right now, how to keep their body strong, because as you're taking these medication, you're decreasing your bone density, and one of the biggest ways to increase bone density or manage it is by doing strength training exercises. So I work with those people. I also work with older populations to try and improve their physical, because a lot of people think that just because you get older you shouldn't work out, but that is the biggest time that you need to work out, because you're losing muscle mass as you get older. So we want to develop that. So I work with those kind of people, and then people are trying to lose weight. So I did get a degree, a certificate in nutrition, so I know what I'm telling people to do, not just the physical part, because eating is actually 80% of the weight and changing your physicality. So wanted to get that. So
that's really important. You said so many important things. And my viewers and listeners know I talk about gold nuggets. And when we really get some wisdom, just buckets full of wisdom, I call them gold nuggets. So you dropped several. And we got to go back.
Okay, no problem.
Because what you know and what you've learned, you studied. I heard you say science so many times. And a lot of us have tried this diet, that diet, and it's not a one size fits all from what I just heard you say.
Right.
So I want to get into that. I want to get into age, body type, all that, because there's so many myths out there and we don't know what to follow. A lot of us. And then the older you get, the more stubborn the weight is, and the more tired you are, and things hurt. My knee hurt for no reason,
Right.
all that stuff. So I want to get into that, but first I think your story is so powerful. And this is what really pulled me, in and knew that you were the right person to talk to, because you have your own journey that you went through. So they all need to hear this, y'all. It's the most powerful thing. So talk about your story. Like, tell your story, your journey, your weight loss journey, your health journey.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Jamaica, and coming to America when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I was thin, but then I saw myself balloon up to about 280 pounds during that time. I then lost all the weight by taking up basketball. So I found some other love. So when I look back, in my opinion, I think think I was emotionally eating, trying to figure out where to belong. I didn't have friends, so food became my friend. It became that comfort. So when I found basketball, it kind of took over that time. I can't say that I changed my diet much, but I got more physically active, and basketball became, making it to the collegiate basketball became my mission. Wow. So I was working out 4 hours a day. So in comparison to sitting down watching TV and eating McDonald's that you can supersize in America that you couldn't do in Jamaica. And in Jamaica, you're running around as a kid, but when you got to America, I lived in Brooklyn, New York. My mom was afraid for me to go outside, so I saw my activity decrease while my food went up. So that's how I started initially, but then I realized, when I got my master's in exercise science and understand cardio exercise, so strength training exercise, I wanted to change my body a little bit. I just didn't want to be skinny. I saw myself becoming skinny fat. I was about 135 pounds, so for my height at 6 feet, that was pretty good. I did become a model, not a fitness model, just a regular model, because I was so thin, but I didn't have the six-pack abs or the lines that I wanted or the definition. So then I went into strength and conditioning, which I started competing in bodybuilding competition, mainly figure and fitness competition, where you're looking at trying to have a small waistline, a wide back, and just being specific. And from that, I learned a lot about eating, and I learned a lot about how strength training is more important than cardio, especially when you're trying to get a certain shape. But I learned a lot about hormones, because you can take your body to a certain level, boost your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone, and that can derail everything, which is one of the reasons I mentioned that stress is so important. But I didn't realize not just mental stress, not just emotional stress, but the physical stress that you put onto your body that can, especially for women, can truly turn us off, that no matter what you're doing, you're not going to see the goals. So hormones is a big thing.
Let's talk about this stress, because that's what got you to the 280 pounds, moving and transitioning from Jamaica to America. I mean, I've been to Jamaica a couple times. It's totally different.
Yes.
First of all, it's more beautiful, doggone it.
Don't I know it?
The waters and the beaches. Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
No worries. We can stay there for a while.
I know. It's one of my daughter's favorite places. I said, well, we will be back. We loved it so much. But you talked about the stress and the stress eating, finding basketball. But where does someone turn their life around from, like, I'm eating, I'm sitting there, and there must have been a form of anxiety, depression that just kept you there, because 280, if you were thin, that's a lot of weight to put on in that time. So just talk about that mental state and that stage that you were in, and how you were able to get motivated to say, okay, I need to change. Like, what was that breaking point for you?
The breaking point was my uncle saying if I didn't change my ways, I was going to die.
Wow.
And he's a doctor.
Okay.
So Dr. Orlando, he's one of the factors. And then also the disappointment in my mom's face every time she took me clothes shopping, and my waistline would get bigger and bigger, and her having to buy more clothes. So that also was it. And then just realizing I needed to change. My favorite person at the time was Aaliyah. And I wanted to look like Aaliyah. I wanted to dance like Aaliyah. And I also wanted a boyfriend. And guys back then, where they didn't seem to care, or the ones that I was attracted to, they didn't seem to care for a thicker person. So all those different factors made me want to change my behavior, made me want to change the way that I look. Not necessarily just to be healthier. Especially the death part was just the important part for me.
Yeah, that's one thing I know, because body shaming and being thick and loving yourself, that's the move right now.
Right.
And so for a lot of people, they're like, I like being thick. I don't want to be thin, but I want to be healthy.
Right.
Talk on that a little bit, and what's your philosophy with that?
The first thing that when you're trying to do any weight loss goal or health goal is to figure out what you want, right? In anything, we always say you have to create your mission and your why, right? And then after that, what is your goal? What do you want to look like? Or what is it that you want to do? Whether I just want to lose 50 pounds, right? If that's the case, then you just start there. Then you take small steps from there. What truly is the motivation? I think it's hard to see self-motivated, in my opinion. And the first thing is find a community. Change your environment. Find a buddy. Find a partner who can help you out, right? right? Your accountability partner. Because for me, it was basketball, right? I found that community something else to put my mind to. So I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was just trying to get better at basketball. And once I got better at basketball, there's things that I had to do, which was to get more physical. I had to practice. So that led to the extra weight. So it wasn't anything great that I knew at that time. It's just that I found somewhere a medium. So if you like dancing, find a dance group. Maybe find a dance class. Maybe you've wanted to do Afro beats or Afro dance for a while, join that, and that will be, and then you'll see the change occur, and that builds self-efficacy. And once you see you could do that, you might then want to add something else to it, like, oh, let me stop eating so much sugar because I realize I'm eating a lot of sugar. And it's not that you have to cut the sugar out, but maybe if you're doing it every day, you just say, I'm going to do it 4 days a week out of the 7 days.
That's
just
good.
small steps.
That's good, Dr. C. Okay, did y'all write that down? Y'all should have wrote a couple things down. First of all, find a community. Write that down. Find a community. That's huge because that's accountability. And your goal is set on, I want to be good at this. I want to be active. I don't want to let my community down. That's just a different frame of mind than like, oh, I need to lose this and I need to count calories and I need to, that's tedious. Then the other thing to write down, pick your pen back up. The other thing to write down is small steps. You said start with this, then add that, add that. That's a different way than what I'm used to hearing. I'm used to hearing like, here's this whole diet.
Right.
You got to go from I was eating pizza and hoagies to now I have to eat this much oatmeal to this. That's such a drastic change. And a lot of times we see people just fail. They just fall off and they're like, let's go to the buffet.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that was some real gold nuggets, some good tips. I want to go back to the stress eating. I hear that so much from people like, oh, okay, as soon as I get stressed, and I have to put myself in that too, y'all. I'm not going to act like I don't stress eat. I'm doing better with it where I'll say, let me just take a walk first, or let me do something else, and then if I still want to eat, I try to do some mental games.
Right.
If I still want to eat, I'll go ahead and have a little bit of it, but usually by the time I get done walking, I don't want anything, with the water. So stress eating, just talk about stress eating. Talk about even the science of that and what food does with stress eating.
Well, you said the key word there, science. There is science behind stress, right? Stress raises your cortisol level, right? And cortisol isn't bad in all kinds of purposes. One, it's correlated to cancer, it's correlated to heart disease, it's correlated to high blood pressure. So stress in general, there's good stress, there's bad stress. And in my opinion, is how you deal with that stress. You can either get stronger or it's going to weaken you down because it's breaking you down. Well, scientifically, once cortisol level goes up, it's looking for insulin, right? It's looking for you to get some form of bringing it back down, and the only way to bring that down is through insulin. So your body's telling you, I need sugar. Right? So those who are eating high sugar foods, when you're stressed out at the end of the day, you did everything, your mind is now in this calm state where it wants to come back down. So you're searching for the sugar. So it's all science. It's hormones that are being released that you can't even combat if you're stressed. So yes, the first, the insulin, and then when you eat that sugar, unfortunately, it puts you back into storage mode. So when most people are eating high sugary, high fat foods, which now is going into storing into the stomach and everything like that. Cortisol also raises the size around your waistline. So a lot of times you see your waistline increase when you have that stress. Also, the next thing that happens once you eat that sugar, you drop your magnesium level down. And your magnesium is your calming agent, which is why a lot of times people have to take magnesium to basically calm themselves back down. So now you're putting yourself through this adrenal fatigue as you go up because you're stressed out, your cortisol level is up, then you try to eat some kind of sugary fat food. Now you're in fat storage mode and you're storing all that, and you now depleted your magnesium level, which also helps your muscles and everything like that stay calm. And now you're feeling more sore than anything else. So I always tell people that's the reason why I don't want anybody to do too much at one time, because it becomes overwhelming. It becomes another obligation and becomes stressful. That's why I want to put joy into it. Do things that you like to do to get active rather than something that I have to do, because then at least you get emotional health. You're going to work on that stress. You're going to have fun. fun doing it. And little do you know, like you said, you went for a walk. Also, a physical activity can also increase your cortisol level if you're doing it because you don't. But going for a walk has been known to decrease one's emotional stress and mental stress, right? So now
I got it right, y'all.
You got it right. So now you're calming down where you're not looking for that food. So one, you change your strategy, right? A learned behavior. So instead of direct, is that if you know anything about psychology, right? It's that Pavlov, that conditional conditioning. You said it was mental, right? So there's a lot of science into this. You change your trigger from food going directly to food to now going for a walk. So now that behavior later on, if you continue doing that, will change. But also you're dealing with the science of cortisol being released by dropping that back down. So you can have what you ate because one, you burnt calories, and two, your stress is not high to where you need that insulin to drop it down.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. I don't even know if you know how good that was because it made so much sense. Right. And do y'all know? Y'all know because your muscles are tense and they hurt. We already know about cortisol. We talked about that in a couple podcasts ago. But the sugar and the insulin and craving it, it's all science. That made so much sense. Well, y'all writing that down? Y'all should have been. So if we're stressed, I noticed that taking a little walk works for me. Any other tips? Like if we're stressed?
Deep breathing, taking some diaphragmatic breathing, I just started taking vocal lessons and I get stressed out whenever I hunch my shoulders. And what do? I believe you know this. You start breathing from your diaphragm, right? And that actually brings your stress and anxiety level down. So I always tell people, take a 3-minute, 5-minute breathing because a lot of times it's that mental stress. You've been going, and you haven't taken time to rest. So breathing, if breathing is just too tedious for you, you can do yoga. Yoga is another way to decrease your stress, plus it's going to get your cortisol level back down. But those are the biggest things I would say.
Yeah, this is good because we don't think, okay, I want to stress eat. If I just breathe, that's going to help. We don't connect that. We're like, just eat. Just eat that. And if you breathe, you're actually doing something. You don't have to do this rigorous exercise. It's like, let me breathe and calm it all down. That way I'm not craving the sugar. It all makes sense. If you put that science, okay, all right. I just want to make sure y'all knew. I love that. So we tend to overeat. We're Americans, we're greedy. We have a lot of choices. We have biggie size in it. We have big packets. I noticed, I just got back from South Africa, that the candy was this little and there was maybe 2 or 3 selections. When I got back to the U.S. airports, they were family-sized M&Ms and family-sized sweet tarts. Sweet tarts, we love our sweet tarts.
Straight sugar.
Straight sugar. It's just flavored sugar. So we tend to just eat more and overdo it. Like, where do we start, Dr. C? Like, where do we start? If we're like, we just want to be healthy, we know we're eating too much, we know we're immobile, we're not moving, we don't have time. That's what I hear my students say all the time. We don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to sit there and do this and that. I hate diets. I don't want to be on another diet, but I know I'm outside of a healthy weight. I know that I'm not moving, but I don't even really know where to start. All right, what would you say to somebody like that?
I would say start where it's easier. Whatever you can implement. I believe, if you don't have time to put a regimen and routine, 10 minutes is enough really though, in my opinion, because once you get 10 minutes done, you're going to end up finding more time. It's just that science once again, right? That self-efficacy. So I would say, let's just say you're not as active because your day is sedentary. If you have the ability to get a watch, I would say look at how many steps you're taking a day. Most people Americans are taking 2,500 steps, right? And that could mean just instead of taking, and then what you can do if you're taking 2,500, knowing that we need to do 10,000, even though some of the science is going on to 7,500. But truly for weight loss, you want to get to about 15,000, which is why some people pick up running to try and get the steps in, or they'll walk to try and get the steps in. But if you can't do that, take the stairs at work. right? Instead of taking the elevator. Maybe park a little bit further from the front door than close to the front door. I know you're like, oh, I got to drop my kids off. Maybe walk your kids in rather than, but you're saying, I don't have time to do that. That's extra 5 minutes now that I lose if I have to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe while in your office, you know, and because you're stressed out anyway and you're looking around and you're doing all that work, definitely take a break. You know, you burn more calories when you focus on breathing. A lot of us are hyperventilating during the day, right? And we don't realize, and that's the reason our blood pressure. So if you just take time to breathe, that actually is going to boost up your calorie burn. So even if you just take 5 minutes, yes.
Did y'all know that?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. So, but while you're there, if you took 5 minutes to take a breath, maybe while you're doing that now, you can raise your arms and just take a couple of the movement, right? Now you're creating movement rather than staying in this position or in this position for a while. Yeah. Maybe in that 5 minutes while you're taking it to breathe, you then do some squats or you do some push-ups or something like that just to get moving. Then the heart rate will go up. There's this new thing, I'm not sure if it's new, Orange Theory, and their method is you do something fast and then slow it down, or high intensity training. So the key thing is if you do something for 5 minutes in the middle of the day and you sit back down, the science is that your body will be burning enough for another 10 minutes.
What?
So you don't need to do 30 minutes. I always tell people you can do 10 minutes in the morning because your body's going to be burning more calories than if you were sitting down for that 10 minutes afterwards. So you burnt the calorie in 10 minutes, but you're still burning calories for another 10 minutes. So that's going to lead to some weight loss. So you don't need 45 minutes or an hour once you get started.
Really?
You can do something small. So start there. But let's just say you can't do the physical activity, disability, or some kind of limited range of motion. I would say start with your diet and start small. If you start drinking more water. I always tell people, even though I'm not the best at it, the science studies say that you should drink 64 ounces. But I like to tell people drink 65% of your weight in water. So if you're about 200 pounds, you should drink about 130 ounces. Why? Because your body, like the earth, is 60 to 80% of water. Your muscles are water, and also it causes lymphatic. If things aren't moving, then your digestion will slow down and these different things. So just start with water, plus it's going to make you stay fuller. So one thing is just get a jug and start filling it up. And just focus on your water, and you're going to realize you don't eat as much. There you go. You don't eat as much, plus it's going to help with the oxygen flow as well as your cardiovascular. And then after that, check out, if you have time, download MyFitnessPal or any tracker. Try and log your meals for a whole day. See what you're eating. Maybe then look at the macronutrients, and you might see that you're eating too many carbs. 60%. I like when people stay around 40% for their carbs, and then about 30% for their fats, and then 30% for protein. We need protein because our muscles need protein. So if you realize that you're taking 60%, see if you can drop back. And where can you drop back to? Maybe you're eating a donut and a coffee that has about 30 grams of sugar because you're going to Starbucks. No offense on Starbucks, but maybe you buy something different from Starbucks. You look on it and say, okay, I still want Starbucks. I still want my coffee, but maybe you change the donut to something a little bit healthier. Maybe those egg cups. See, it's not that you have to go extreme, because just making that one change will yield results. And when you see the results, you're going to want to make more change.
Wow. So, more gold nuggets. There's so much that we don't know, but now we know, right? Breathing, the 10 minutes. I always thought I had to do really rigorous workouts. Like, y'all, I used to do Insanity. Burning to the point where I injured myself. That was the issue. I injured myself. And then the pandemic came, and I decided M&Ms will make this all better. So the combination of stress and M&Ms. I'm just being transparent so you can be transparent, okay? And then I couldn't get back to those workouts because of the injury. I had physical therapy, and I'm doing like walking, and I'm thinking I'm not doing enough. And then I'm breathing. Well, breathing's not burning anything. It was the lack of knowledge.
Right.
And what you just told me is you can do 10 minutes here. I was doing 45 minutes, then walking on the treadmill. I was tearing up my body.
Your body's screaming.
Screaming. Stuff was hurting. I was like, I'm bulked up,
Right.
But the 10 minutes here, and that was one of my questions, and thank you for answering it before I even got to it. Can we do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just, okay, and how long would you recommend that how much exercise? Like a total of 30 minutes, or does it matter just as long as we're moving? You broke down what to eat, and all that was great. I'm like, oh, wait, we can have that much carbs? Because Now we think we can only have like 5% carbs, and we're just
my.
eating all protein, and we're just eating vegetables, protein, and that doesn't work. So, yeah. So, the first question: how much time do we need to put in exercise in a day or a week? Is there a formula like that?
There are formulas out there, but my theory is put in whatever you can. Because if you try to go with these formulas, it's going to be too extreme for you, right? You're going to try to do 45 minutes because it says to do 45 minutes, or you're going to try to get 15,000. And once again, that's going to become overwhelming and stressful.
Yeah.
So I would say start wherever you can.
Just move.
Just move. Get up and move. That's all that matters, is get up and move.
We could do that.
Yeah. And because like I said, if you start somewhere and you realize 5 minutes is easy, you got 5 minutes in the morning, then the afternoon, and then again, that's 15 minutes, right? And let's just realize you're like, oh, you know what? I can get up a little bit earlier. I can do this, or I can turn this meeting into a walk-in meeting rather than a start. And that's another thing. Turn your meetings into walk-in meetings rather than a meeting at Starbucks, right?
That's
Meet your
good.
girlfriend at the park.
Yeah.
But those are different things that you can do. Once you see you can do that, you're going to want to do more. And then you can put more regimen around it once you got that time. So let's just say you now realize you found 45 minutes, then you can put more something else to it. But if you're saying that you don't have time, just starting is important. Just doing something.
Does age matter? You talked about that in the beginning. Like, the older you get, that was another gold nugget, y'all. The older you get, you're supposed to move and exercise and build muscle. Can you talk about, like, is there recommendations or tips you have for age groups, like folks in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond? Do you have advice for age groups, or is there overall advice for everyone?
I would say that as you get older, you're losing muscle mass, right? So I would say older people focus on doing some strength training. Make sure you have that as a part of your regimen somewhere.
So that's weights,
squats, whether it's swimming. You can do swimming as well, because that's some form of resistance training. So you see them doing some aerobics, because as you get older, you are also... Think about wear and tear, right? We are getting older. Our body is aging. Not just that we're losing muscle mass, but we've done so much throughout the year. Whether you sat all day long for 40 years because you were a secretary, or you stood all day long because you were working in the restaurant business, and now your knees are hurt, your bone is on bone, then just you want to build that muscle mass again in some form. So it's not necessary that you weren't moving. It's just that how was your movement throughout your career? I always tell people it's individual, and while people are working, you want to work for the lifestyle that you have, right? So if you're sitting all day long, that's the reason why you want to walk, because your joints are just tighten up from sitting all day long. So now you have to create some kind of walking movement so that you can release that, because that's what you're doing all day long. But for a younger generation, you can do really whatever you want to do. It's whatever you like to do, just as long as you like to move. If you want to do a combination, there's multitudes of things that you can do. You can do, like I said, Orange Theory. You can do HIIT, where you're doing strength training and then doing some cardio in between. You can do jumping jacks. You can do. It's when it becomes more specific is when you want to look a certain way. You know what I mean?
Then you have to do specific
right,
things.
yeah. But if you're just trying to lose weight, just do anything that gets you to move. And then make sure you put some stretch in. So in exercise physiology, you want to do some cardio, you want to do some strength, and you want to put flexibility. But there's a lot of exercises that has all three of those combined, rather than trying to split them up.
Yeah. I noticed, like, MyFitnessBlender, there's a walk. There's, like, things on YouTube you can just walk. I noticed for me, I like HIIT. I like strength building. I like dancing. I like moving. And I notice when I go to any kind of class where they're just dancing and wiggling, I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'll do that.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to do that, and I don't like running. I knew that was not it for me. I was like, when is it over? That's
right.
That was me at the beginning.
Right. It has to have a point, right? Like, where's the destination? At least when I'm dancing, I know I got different coordination to do. Right.
You can't tell me I'm not throwing down.
Right.
Like, I'm dancing. What? Hey. What do you think about body type? I heard about ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph.
Right.
Do you think, and I've read a lot of stuff, but I mean, you got the degrees behind it and the experience. So I wanted to ask you about the body type and what validity does that have? Should an ectomorph be working out and eating this way in order to be healthy and lose weight? Like, what do you think? First, define it for those that aren't familiar, and then give me your opinion about that.
Yeah. So this science was created in 1940s by a psychologist, and there's some validity to it. But just to let you know that they can intercross. So an ectomorph is usually the one who's tall, really slender. Their limbs are slender. They're normally the one who wants to run all day long. They can't gain any weight, or if they try, it's difficult for them to gain muscle or to gain any kind of weight in general. They can really do whatever they want, but they want to be easy to get a bodybuilder, right? It's going to be a struggle for them. They can truly, like I said, eat whatever they want. They're just a long, tall, and skinny one. Then we have endomorph. Endomorph is all the way on the other spectrum. They tend to have small shoulders. Their hips are wider. They tend to be wider, but they have to pay attention to their carbs because they're going to store it. It's going to store under insulin and different things like that. So they're the ones who are normally given a higher protein diet and less carbs, and they're the ones who need to do HIIT training and high intensity training and not necessary, and would have to work out more to see the weight loss because their also metabolism a lot slower, hence the reason they're endomorphs. Then we have mesomorphs. They're the God-given human body, right? They can do whatever they want to do. If they eat, I call it like the Terrell Owens. They can eat and look amazing. Their shoulders are broad, their waistline is small, hip thick as wise. They can do whatever they want to do. They just have to be regimented. It's not necessary they have to run longer or anything like that or do strength training. Their body will adapt to whatever they do. Wow. So now to say that, people might look at me and say, oh, you're straight up ectomorph, but I just told you I was obese, right? So obviously when I mentioned that they can cross over, you can be an ectomeso, you can be an endomeso. So it's not really one specific lane, and we can cross ourselves into any one of those as well based on our own behaviors, diet and nutrition, diet and physical activity. So
there's some truth to it, but it sounds like it's more, again, what you said in the beginning, it's an individual plan, it's the individual body. You mentioned metabolism. So how does metabolism play in it, especially when you're getting older, but what part does metabolism play in having to increase it and decrease it?
Metabolism basically is how much energy your body burns, right? And our MyFitness or Apple Watches sometimes can tell us, it tells us our calories, right? Some people's metabolism is a little bit slower. So if you might be hypothyroid, if you ever heard about that, it's basically on your thyroid. So those people will not burn as many calories throughout the day. Can you increase your metabolism? Yeah, there are different ways. That was my question. Different things like apple cider vinegar. You've heard if you take a scoop of apple cider vinegar, it's going to help you increase. But it's truly how your body digests food, in my opinion, right? So if you realize you're slower in digesting food, increasing your fiber, or unfortunately some people can't boost it because of just their genetic makeup, so that's the reason why they have to work out a little bit more than the rest, right? There are people who have fast metabolisms, like I said, those ectomorphs of the world, or those who might be hypothyroid and not know because their thyroid is working extremely fast, or they have a really good digestive system already doing fiber. Those people are going to burn so many calories throughout the day, but the problem with burn is that they're burning through their own muscles and they're burning through their own bones, so that it can be a problematic thing as well, but they can then eat whatever they want to do because they're going to burn it. So yes, as you get older, your metabolism does decrease. So in general, metabolism increase. Women, especially once you hit menopause, it's like it makes a big drop down. Or if you had hysterectomy and has had to go into menopause earlier, that can have an impact. Muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the more metabolism, more faster your metabolism is. So that's the reason why strength training can also improve your metabolism because muscles burn more than fat.
Okay, that's a real good tip. Does sleep matter?
Oh, sleep matters a lot. I hate to, sometimes I feel like I'm a hypocrite because this is something I'm working on, but sleep matters, 7 to 8 hours, because once again, science, right? When we don't get enough sleep, our body does not have the ability to recover. And also hormone-wise, our ghrelin levels will drop as our leptin levels increase. And what that means is you're going to be hungrier throughout the day, and you're going to be more fatigued because those hormones have that play. So the more you sleep, the more your body recovers, so that means it can grow, your muscles can do what it needs to do, plus those hormones will come back into balance. So if you don't get enough sleep, that's the reason why you're hungry and you want to eat before you go to bed. The next thing that I've realized is a lot of people eat right before they go to bed.
Yes.
Right? And what doesn't And when that
I need a little snack.
No, no snacking, no snacking. If you're gonna eat anything, eat a almond butter or something like that because it has magnesium and it's gonna help you sleep throughout the day. So that's why you hear a lot of people take magnesium before they go to bed. Or if you look at any of those supplements other than melatonin, you'll see that it has a little bit of magnesium. It's because it's giving you that calming thing to get you to sleep.
Nice.
So I always tell people eat an apple and almond butter if you're gonna go because those two have magnesium. But sleep matters because it's gonna help your body get back into balance.
That's a really good tip. So I'm going to tell y'all, Dr. Camille and I talked, and we went through, just several of my questions, and I was curious, and just other questions I knew people had. And she gave me a tip. Well, I don't even know if you gave me a tip, but I confessed that I like to have a little, maybe a little bowl of cherries or a little something before bed. And you gave a tip, just cut out 2 hours beforehand. Right. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. I kid you not. I'm not one that just gets on a scale all the time. I just wanted to see if that worked for me. So I did it for a full week straight and lost 4 pounds.
What? Hey, give me high five.
I was like, what? My little snacking at bedtime was costing me. And I've been committed to moving for just several months now. I feel so much better, and stretching. I didn't know how stretching is everything. If I move for a few minutes and stretch, I feel better all day long. And then I want to get up and do more things. So everything she's saying is so true. I've been trying it. But I couldn't wait to tell you that, and I didn't want to tell you until we were actually filming to be like, what? I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't trying, there was no goal except for let me see if this works for me, because that was one of my issues. I just like to, before I go to bed. So then I just stopped. And it wasn't hard at all. It was just a little adjustment. So thank you for that. And you didn't even know you were giving me such a jewel. I'll continue to do it. It was easy, y'all. Little changes at a time. Let's stop abusing our bodies with these fad diets and going all crazy and then feeling horrible, and then we do this, we gain it all back. Or we feel really guilty and bad about ourselves because we're not keeping up these insane workouts, getting up and going to the gym at 2 a.m. Like I couldn't even function that early. I know she gets up early, but I'm not going to put that out. But competing, you have to be on a whole nother level. But for us that we're starting out, these tips are really gold. They're so valuable. I want to talk about, as we wrap it up, just talking about gaining weight back. People feel so guilty. They lose all this weight. I just heard someone say to me the other day, I lost 50 pounds and I gained all of it plus some back, and I felt horrible. How could I do this to myself? Can you talk to those people? And my heart hurts for that, because that's never happened to me, and I think that would be really horrible. The times I gained a bunch of weight, I was pregnant. So I was like, all right, that makes sense. And then try to lose it. But what tips do you have for people that are on the journey and they're like, Dr. Camille, I'm in there, I'm grinding, and I'm so afraid of gaining this back? Talk to them, but talk to the folks that I am the one that gained it back. I'm feeling horrible. I don't know how to get back in there. What would you say to them? What tips would you have for keeping the weight off? And then what tips would you have for just encouraging folks that went down that road of gaining it back?
So before we get into the tips, just once again, the science behind it, right? So one of the reasons why we gain it back is because most of us say, I'm going to go hard, right? And it's unsustainable. You can't get into the gym for 2 hours a day, especially when life might come your way. And what really reason you gained it back is because you're not working out as much as you were before. The next thing that happens as you lose weight is your metabolism slows down in some kind of way. A lot of people do a lot of cardio to lose weight, or they diet very extremely, right? And unfortunately, what happens when you do that is you lose a lot of muscle mass. So remember that muscle that I says burn more?
Right.
So for me, I check people's body fat percentage as they're losing weight, because I want to make sure that they're maintaining the muscle, because the key thing is to lose the fat, not necessarily the muscle, right? So a lot of times people are losing a lot of the muscle mass, and plus you're losing weight, so your body's not burning as much to take you around. So now you have to do way more just to keep up with that. So now, but instead you're dropping back because you're not seeing the scale move, because what you're doing right now is not one, your body learns. Your body does not want to burn as much calories. It wants to be efficient. It wants to be in balance. So it's actually going to slow down a little bit. Says, oh, I'm used to this. You're going to have to do something a little bit different. So the key thing is anybody trying to jump into it or trying to go back to it is just make it sustainable. Don't make it so extreme. Make it something that even when you're stressed out or anything like that, or, unfortunately, if your workload just increases, or maybe a loved one passed away and you had to give your time to them or your caretaking, that you can continue that regimen throughout. It has to be a lifestyle change. It cannot be like, oh, I'm going to do this and then you're going to stop. Those who have seen the weight gain come back, I would say start doing some muscle training, because one of the reasons probably is, like I said, is that your metabolism will slow down. You lost a little bit of your muscle mass in the process. So just start lifting again so you can regain that, so that way your body has more muscle than fat, or has a little bit more, and will burn more while you're seated, because that's the key thing, right? You want to burn more when you're not doing anything.
Yes, I do.
It's almost like passive income. I want to make more while I'm
like
seated,
that.
right? Yes. So yeah, focus on doing a little bit more strength training rather than trying to do more cardio.
Nice. You gave us another tip in there too. When you're on that journey and then it seems like you stop progressing and stop losing weight, you're changing things up. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going hard. You're just changing things because your body's saying, oh, I'm comfortable with this. So you gave us 3 tips in one. I told you she was going to be the bomb. I told y'all. This is so helpful beyond measure. I read a quote that you said, and I wanted to read it to others because this is exactly what you do it for. Your heart is so pure and warm. I wish I could be in a room. She's so warm. She's so friendly. She's so knowledgeable. And this is what you do it for. Just to help people and see the transformation. So it's gratifying to you, but it's helping us. And I'm telling you, my little tip. My one little tip, I was like, get out of here. Right? But here's the quote. My goal is to reach out to and motivate others who are struggling with getting to their fitness goals. Whatever those fitness goals are, do you want to be healthy? You like your curves, but you feel that you're not healthy, you're not eating right, and you want you want to eat right, you want to sleep better, you want to drink more water, you don't like the curves, you want them to be smaller curves, whatever that might be, whatever the goal is, healthy has to be the first goal. Would you? Okay. I totally say, we have to be healthy. And when you're healthy physically, you're healthy mentally. All of the things you said that gets your body healthy also helps you mentally. Y'all know that. Exercise and eating less of the sugar and drinking more water and sleeping, that'll tip the scales of depression, anxiety, all those mood disorders, and we're going to start to feel better. When we feel better mentally, we're going to feel better all over, spiritually, physically, all of that. It's all together. It's all connected. It comes together. So all of the tips that you gave us, all the knowledge, this is things that you live by, it. It's so new to us. There were some things I was like, wait, what? It's so new. It's so new to us. It's so helpful. It's a reminder that we don't have to be up here built like this right away. We didn't get overweight and out of shape overnight. So it takes time. And to have, that grace for ourselves, I feel that from you. And thank you for being that person that says, that you can do it and this is how you can do it. You gave us a roadmap. Like we feel motivated now.
Oh, great. That's all I want.
So thank you.
Accomplished.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that I might not have asked you and there's something that you want to let our viewers and our listeners know? Is there anything else you want to just part with us?
No, I think you said what I wanted it's a holistic care, right? It's so interconnected mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And that's the key, that once you find out who you are and who you want to be, you can truly reach that journey. You can start that journey and reach that destination of where you want to be.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for watching. Dr. Camille was just fantastic. How did they get in touch with you? How did they get involved with what you're getting involved with? Just kind of give them something if they're like, oh, I love Dr. I know you are. I know you said that. I love Dr. Camille. How did they get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you want to reach out to me by email, you can email me at camille.smith@thawinc.org, and that's T as in Tom, H as in hello, A as in apple, W as in woman, INC.org. So that's camille.smith@thawinc.org. And Camille spelled, I think you're going to see it, right? C-A-M.
You're going to click right below.
Right at the bottom. But, yeah, if you want to also check out some of my website to learn more about me, you can go to camillesfitness.net. If you want to reach out to me maybe as a personal trainer or a health coach, can't say I'm taking that many clients right now, but I'm willing to listen or talk to you. Also, if you'd like to join our nonprofit organization where I do group classes, and as well as we have a book club called Rise, Reading to Inspire Sisters to Elevate, because we believe starting with the mind first is one of the key things. You can go to our website at thawinc.org to check out more about that. Also, I'm on Facebook. Look up my name, Camille Clark-Smith. That's what I'm on there, and choose me as a friend and send me a message.
You're going to come across some inspirational messages from her. She's always sharing. She's so authentic and transparent. You'll continue to learn from her. So click those links down below. Get in touch with her. Let's start. Let's start today. I know you were motivated. I know you were inspired by what Dr. Camille said today. I know I was. And thank you so much for coming on again.
Oh, thank you.
Healing Overflow family, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for sharing. People are reaching out, emailing me, clicking the Qualtrics link below and telling me your Ask a Therapist questions. Y'all are communicating, and I appreciate it because I know what you're thinking out there. So keep watching, keep listening, keep sharing, because as you heal, your healing overflows onto everyone else. I'll see you next time, y'all. Bye.
Bye.